It's snowing outside, so today's project is to do a makeover on this aquarium, from this to this. This 10-gallon unfiltered aquarium has been running for about 6 months and has become a little bit overgrown. While I remove all the wisteria, let me tell you a little bit about this setup. This planted tank is unfiltered and uses a single air bubbler to break the surface tension and provide a little current. The substrate is layered with a soil, peat, calcine clay, and gravel layer under a cap of size 25 gravel. The light is provided by a 100 watt equivalent power compact curly bulb with a color temperature of about 5000 K and a 6500 K T8 tube that is in the shop light that sits over the shelf the tank sits on. The only time that this tank gets any supplemental carbon dioxide is when I remember to add a little bit of Flourish Excel. It does get dry fertilizers at each water change, which I do about 50% every other week. The original planting included some wisteria, which is coming out, an Amazon sword in the back left, some Amania in the back center, and a huge bunch of Rotala indica, which is exploded in the back right corner. Anchoring the midground is a clump of Cryptocorinne lucens in the center and a thick bunch of Anubias nana on the right. The foreground plants are wisteria, which is all coming out, and a nice growth of dwarf Sagittaria. The plan is to remove the wisteria entirely and then trim everything else back to create room for 4 new species. Let's speed up the cleanup. And here we are, all cleaned up. Now we can see that nice clump of Cryptocorinne lucens and the Anubias nana in the midground. I removed enough of the background foliage to create the space I needed. I also decided halfway through the process to change the fish population, so the coral red pencilfish that were in there are now gone. The first new planting will be some clumps of the very grass-like Cryptocorinne tonkinensis, which will add some darker green and a different growth form to the midground on the right. Between the red of the Amania and the green of the Rotala, I am planting a brown Myrophillium scabratum. The frilly, dense growth will also add a nice contrast to the needle leaves to either side. I am filling in the space around the sword plant with the pretty and fragile looking Ludwigia inclinata. The soft texture of the Ludwigia should subdue the sharp lines of the sword leaves, and the pastel pinks of the Ludwigia should also be a subtle contrast to the strong bright green behind them. In place of the wisteria, I'm going to try to establish the robust and fast-growing Myrophillium matagrosense. Most people use this as a background plant, but I plan to trim it aggressively and keep it as a dense, bushy foreground cover. The first of 3 fish species for this tank is Microdavario cubatai, the neon yellow dwarf resbora, which is not actually a resbora at all. It's a danio, and a small one. In a planted tank, it appears bright yellow. I am also adding a school of the celestial pearl danio, Danio margaritatus. This nanofish will spend more time on the bottom in the plants, while the neon yellow Microdavario will swim in the upper open water. The last fish additions are 4 pea puffers, Corinna tetraodon travancoricus. This aquarium has always supported a healthy population of ram's horn snails, but these puffers will help keep them in check, as well as provide an interesting and pretty focal fish. Here is the finished makeover 24 hours later. The water is clearing nicely, and I can already see new growth on the new plants. Small planted nanotanks like this are fun and easy to maintain. Even doing a makeover is not a big chore. Give it a try.